up, guys, and welcome back to my channel. How are we living today? How are we living? Well, you guys may have noticed I was MIA from YouTube for about a week, and that is because I have some super exciting news. I've actually moved across the country. You guys might know I was living in New York before. I have now moved to basically the suburbs of Florida, so quite the change for your girl. I had to spend basically, this was a pretty quick move, so I had to spend basically the last week just packing and unpacking and finding an apartment and just doing all of those really fun things that come with moving across the country in a pandemic. So your girl's been busy, let's just say that. Apologies for my absence though, and I am just so excited and happy to be here with you guys and to catch up and see what you guys have been up to. I am in the process of basically procuring all new stuff for an apartment. I'm gonna make a reveal video on my apartment when it's finally done, but girl, we are weeks and weeks away from that. It has been just a whirlwind here. So you guys know I'm a luxury obsessed person. My whole channel's about luxury. You guys know I do a whole lot of research and a whole lot of planning when it comes to buying my next luxury purchase. I'm a regular person who works a regular 9-to-5 job, and I really have to research and plan out my purchases. With that being said, I had a number of purchases planned out to buy over the next couple weeks, but when this move was essentially sprung upon me, your girl had some expenses she had to take care of. I don't know if anyone here has moved across country or maybe to another country. I've done that too, and that's also very expensive, but there are a lot of costs associated with doing that. So with that being said, I had to postpone some of my luxury purchases, put them on to next month or the month after that, and it got me thinking. I do a lot of videos on why you should buy luxury, why you should buy vintage, why you should buy this, why you should buy that, yada yada yada, the list goes on, but I'm thinking to myself, I'm in a position right now where I actually need to postpone some luxury purchases, so why don't we do a video on why you shouldn't buy luxury? And I know you guys are shocked to be hearing that from me, but believe it or not, there are a plethora of reasons why you shouldn't buy luxury or you shouldn't start a luxury collection, and today, honey, that's what this video is all about. So if you guys want to hear my reasons on maybe why you shouldn't buy that bag you've been eyeing for a long time, or maybe why you should hold off on your luxury purchase, then keep watching. But before I even get into reason number one, I want to start this video with a huge disclaimer, because you work really hard for your money, and that means that you should spend your money however you want to spend it. So while these videos are really fun to watch and I love hearing other people's opinions, and it sort of makes your mind work on like what to think about before making a purchase or before buying anything, honestly at the end of the day, it's your choice. No one should tell you how to spend your money, especially when you work so hard for it. So let that be my little disclaimer before getting into reason number one. Okay, reason number one, and maybe this is the most obvious reason to you guys, but it's because maybe you can't afford it. And when I say can't afford it, I mean if something's gonna put you into debt or into any sort of credit card debt, obviously that luxury item is not worth it. No matter what it is, it's not worth it. Maybe you have other financial goals that are more important. Maybe you have a business loan, maybe you have student loans, maybe you have credit card debt you're just trying to pay off, and when that's the case, you sort of have to weigh the pros and cons. Do I want to pay off this loan faster, or do I want to buy a $2,000 handbag? When you think about whether you can afford this or not, I want to say it was Jay-Z who said it best when he said, if you can't afford it twice, you can't buy it once, okay? And what a mouthful that is. If you've been saving up for a really long time on this luxury bag, yada yada yada, and you can't afford to buy it twice, then maybe you should just save a little bit more before buying that bag or whatever luxury item it is. I don't know, maybe it's a car in your case, maybe it's an Hermes bracelet, maybe it's a Gucci belt, maybe it's some Gucci mules, I don't know. But if you can't afford it twice, you really should think twice before purchasing. I think something else to point out while we're talking about if you can't afford it is that, hey, I'm guilty of doing this too. I sometimes talk about bags like they're investments or investment pieces, and don't get me wrong, there are some times where you can actually make money on the resale market if you like really hit the jackpot and buy a bag before it gets really trendy or really popular. I mean, that happens all the time, but I think that's the exception to the rule, and the rule is that bags most of the time are not investments, and that a lot of the time they're like cars. Once you drive them off the lot, they're going to lose their value. So always keep that in mind too. And if you're really just thinking about buying a bag because you're going to somehow make money off of it, while sometimes that might be true, I don't think that that's the rule, and maybe that's a reason you should think twice before buying. Reason number 2 you shouldn't start a luxury collection or buy that luxury thing is that you want it for the wrong reasons. I've talked about this in a lot of videos in the past, and I think the wrong reasons really vary from person to person, but some examples here are maybe you want it because you feel like everyone else has it. Maybe you want it because you think it's gonna make you cooler, or you think it's gonna make people like you, or you think it's gonna somehow give you significance. I think those are some of the wrong reasons why people are drawn towards luxury, and at the end of the day, a bag, a car, or money in general is just a tool, and it's not going to like give you that fulfillment, give you that happiness. You really already have to have that in yourself in order to like find joy in any of these other things. So if you are saving up for that Gucci belt and you think it's just going to like make you happier, it's probably not, and that's not a reason to, you know, be spending $400 on a belt. And along with this is just buying something to get in on a trend. If you don't absolutely love something and it's just like a trend and everyone has it, I don't think that that's a reason to purchase at all, guys. I buy trendy things too, but I only buy trendy things because I love them, and even when they're not going to be on trend anymore, I'm still going to wear them because I love them that much. So just make sure before you buy anything, you're buying it for the right reasons. Number 3, and this is a really important one, is that this luxury item doesn't have the usability. And for some people, this might be the versatility too. So whether this is you really only wear tote bags, right? And you see this amazing top handle bag and you're like, I really love it, I want it, but you know that you won't use it, then really think twice before purchasing it, because there is nothing worse than buying something really expensive and then just watching it sit on the shelf and having it stare at you for the rest of your life because you just don't use it. And so that goes with like the style, that goes with like the color. Maybe you have a very neutral wardrobe and you buy this like really bright color just because you like that color, you like looking at it, but you're never going to wear it and it's never going to fit into your wardrobe, then you probably shouldn't purchase that. Another thing to talk about when we talk about the usability of a bag is that it's the wrong season. Like maybe you live in a really warm climate and you want to get this like velvet bag, but you feel like you can never really wear it, but you really love it. I mean, that's just something else to think about. Like I always like to think about how many times am I going to use this? I will never buy something that I can't picture myself using over and over and over again. So just something to keep in mind. So something else with vintage, and I just did a whole vintage video. I'll link that up here in case you're interested in seeing, but there is, believe it or not, such a thing as too vintage. Yes, too vintage. I am the vintage lover over here, okay? I am like the vintage preacher. I am like eco hippie woman. Let's go. Love it, love it, love it. But I have come across a few bags on some of my favorite vintage sites that are just, how do I say it? Too vintage, literally falling apart. Why would anyone spend any sort of money on it? I can't even use this bag. I just don't get it. And so maybe you just like desperately want a Louis Vuitton bag, or you really just like want, you know, a bag that says Dior or like whatever it is. Just do not settle for something that's too vintage and you're only getting it because of the name brand, because at the end of the day, you're gonna be like, why did I buy this? I can't even use it. It looks so bad. Don't waste your money. Okay, the 4th reason, and one of my favorite, is that you should never buy a luxury bag or start any sort of luxury collection on impulse. You guys know, if you've watched this channel, I am big into researching. I am really big into planning out buys and budgeting and all of that good stuff. And I literally never buy anything on impulse. Like I am that crazy person that would like research a vacuum cleaner for months before making the dive, because I just always want to be sure, number 1, that I'm getting the best deal, and number 2, that it's something like I don't want, like I actually really feel like I need in my life, and something that is like really gonna spark joy, even if it's a vacuum cleaner. I mean, that's how crazy I am. So if you're just window shopping with some friends and you see a bag and you're like, oh my god, I love this, I need to have it right away, just hold your horses, sister. Just give it a minute, just wait a beat, give it a pause, just let the day go on, give it a week, do some research, make sure you're getting the best deal, make sure that this is something that you actually really want and it's not an impulse, because there's nothing worse than an impulse buy, and this is something that I used to do a lot when I was younger. I'm still young. I don't know why I'm trying to preach to you guys like I'm like old and wise, but when I was like a teenager, early 20s, like I would really just impulse buy, and then those items would most of the time just end up sitting there, and I would regret it so much. I would feel so much like purchasing guilt over this. So just don't impulse buy. Always wait. Another tip and trick is maybe you're online shopping, never impulse buy. Leave that stuff in the cart for at least a day. A lot of times the brand will reach out via email and be like, hey, you left this in your cart, you want 10% off. So just always wait, okay? Patience is a virtue. Just be patient. The fifth and final reason why maybe you should just pause on starting your luxury collection is that maybe you can't afford that Chanel classic flap right now, okay? You can't afford to drop, you know, $3,200 on that Chanel classic flap that you wanted for so long and you want it so bad. But there's this other bag that you're not really obsessed with. Maybe it's only, you know, $1,000. Maybe it's just like a Louis Vuitton Pochette, something like that. And you're like, I don't really love it that much, but you know, I have $1,000 saved and it would take me a really long time to get to that $3,200 for the bag that I really want. So why don't I just get this now? No, 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 no. Never do that. We are all guilty of that, okay? I've done that a number of times where I'm saving for something like a really big purchase and I'm just like, this is gonna take me forever to save for. I have the money to buy this here that I don't really love that much, but you know, it's still a designer bag from the same house or like whatever it is, and you just go with that less expensive thing and you sort of like settle for something that you really don't love and you really don't want as much, but it's cheaper and you can afford it then. Never do that, guys. I swear to God, I never feel worse after doing something like that. If you love something and something really sparks joy and you're working your ass off trying to afford it and you're saving and saving and saving and you know, maybe you're only halfway there, don't give in, okay? Just stay strong, heed the path, keep that goal in mind, and just continue saving your money, because at the end of the day, just buying something just to buy it is never it's never a good decision in the long run. And I feel like you should just keep saving your money, just keep your eyes on the prize, baby. That's my rant on that. I just think that these tips are really important to keep in mind. I especially need a reminder of these things from time to time too, so I hope this video served as a reminder to you and that you guys took something away from this. What are your tips for starting a luxury collection? Are there things you keep in mind that are maybe deal breakers on why you shouldn't buy a luxury item? If there is something that I missed, leave it in the comments down below and share it with the community here so we can just share some tips and tricks together. If you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up, and if you really like this video, go ahead and subscribe down below. Join the family. We would literally love to have you. The more the merrier over here. I loved spending some time with you. I hope you enjoyed spending some time with me, and until the next one, guys, I'll see you in the next one. Keep dancing with the devil, baby, there's a lot of